Seven, six, five, four, three, two, one.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
And welcome into another edition of the Vegas Squares podcast. You're sitting here in the virtual Zoom studio. We got Spike, aka Gritty, over there, and we don't care how Spike is, even though last episode he had a little anecdotal story time. But Token, what's up, brother?
Not much. Just glad to be here talking about some hockey, even though my main team's not in the playoffs.
Your main team hasn't been in the playoffs for a few years, so you get to have the full experience. Can you want to pick another team, or you still want to stick with Detroit?
Still always going to be a Detroit fan no matter what. Because I live in Vegas now, Knights are number 2.
That's fair enough. And we got a special guest on with us to talk hockey. It is James A. Paxson, the lead writer for 12 Ounce Sports. He's got a new show called James and the Agent, premiering soon on the 12 Ounce Sports Network on Wednesdays. James, thank you very much for coming aboard talking hockey with us.
Thank you for having me. Another sad Detroit Red Wings fan.
That's why I put you guys on this side of the Zoom.
That's what it is.
Totally.
I thought it was the loser's side.
No, you can't even win lotteries at this point, so I feel for you guys.
Well, when it's fixed, so.
Do you think it's fixed? Because I've always said the NBA I feel is fixed, but.
Absolutely. I could tell you right now, if it's not where it's the last place team in football gets the number 1 pick, of course it's fixed. NBA is fixed too.
See, I agree with the NBA, but I don't also, and we've talked about this, I don't agree with the last place team getting it. I think Spike brought up a great idea, and he's talked about it for at least a year now, having an elimination tournament. You know, the winner of that gets the first pick of all the teams who are eliminated from the playoffs or not making the playoffs that year.
Fine. I'm cool with it. I mean, I definitely will say before we start talking, guys, how about some expanded NHL playoffs for forever?
I don't know if I love it. I know that it worked out in the sense that we got both 12 seeds and I think one 11 seed to advance, but that's a lot of playoff hockey. I mean, 24 teams in the playoff, James?
Not 24. I'm saying out of the 32 teams when Seattle comes in, we do 20 teams, and then the top 4 get a bye, 2 from each conference, and then we play the 20 teams to the Stanley Cup playoffs.
What do you guys think?
I don't think it would necessarily work that way. I think the top 2 would get a bye, and then you have some play in that way.
Conference, top 4.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right. Yeah. What do you think, Spike?
It's certainly an interesting concept, and I'm never going to say no to more hockey. It does kind of throw a monkey wrench into my losers tournament for the number 1 pick, because when we have the 32 teams, we have 16 teams in the playoffs, 16 teams in the lottery tournament. But if that doesn't come to fruition, I don't hate the idea of doing expanded playoffs and going to 20 teams. I think that's not so bad. And you get those teams that are just barely missing a chance to really fight it out and see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, James, I'm all for eliminating any chance of tanking. So I know it doesn't happen that often in hockey, obviously, because of the lottery. But so as of for now, I'll sit on the dissension side. But I'm open to it. I'm open to it for sure. All right, before we jump into these, we'll talk about last week's craziness that was the NHL playoffs. Not quite as crazy as last year. And then we'll get into the series prices, and we'll talk some series that are coming up here. We got a special. This is a special edition we're airing on Tuesday. We normally air Wednesdays and Saturdays. But before we get in, we're going to let you know, obviously, we're sponsored by 12 Ounce Sports Network, where we are broadcasting in both audio and video formats. Make sure to check out all the shows at 12OZ Sports Network, including James's new show, James and the Agent, also on Wednesdays as well. While you're at the 12 Ounce Sports Network website, please make sure to visit the store where you can get anything from golf polos to coffee mugs, beach towels, phone cases, pillows, etc. Everything. Visit 12OZ Sports Network today. And if you're watching this, we are on Zingo TV, channel 761. If you don't have Zingo and you're watching this on YouTube or lvsquares.com, please download to your phone the Zingo account and sign up for a free account using the promo code 12OZ. All right, Token. last week was a bit nuts. I want to give you kudos. You called Arizona.
Yes.
Yeah. I know
Nailed
we
it.
talked about this on
Exactly in
Saturday.
4.
Yeah, I mean, you called it in 4 too. I can't believe you didn't bet that plus 375.
It was 3 to 1.
3, I thought even still, you had
Yeah,
that nailed.
I had taken them for the series and bet them in a few solo games, so still made a little cheddar on that.
Fair enough. Well, James, we talked about this on our Saturday show. So I want to throw this question just to you. Obviously, we have Edmonton and Pittsburgh both failing to advance past the qualifying round against teams they were heavy favorites against. Edmonton, I believe, was a minus 180, and I believe Pittsburgh was a minus 240 to win those respective series, and they both lost. We were talking about how Edmonton's really getting the brunt of the criticism, and Pittsburgh's flying under the radar. Which team's loss was kind of more disappointing to you as a hockey fan?
Edmonton, I have to give Montreal credit because they looked like they showed up more, and Carey Price was the best goalie in the first round, in my opinion. And what Price was able to do for Montreal is the reason the Canadians are moving on. I don't think Edmonton had any defense throughout the whole series, and they were giving up a lot of scoring chances where it could have been higher scoring for the Chicago Blackhawks. And, when it's just, hey, if McDavid can get a hat trick, we can win, you're not going to win a lot of hockey games like that. So Edmonton was the bigger disappointment, in my opinion.
Fair enough. Spike, we throw Toronto in that mix because Toronto lost a 5-game series to Columbus. They were also a pretty good favorite. I believe they were minus 150 or minus 160 at the start of that series to win the series. Toronto's another one. I mean, they fired Babcock. They've gotten all of their guys under contract and comfortably who are their playmakers. And we talked about Freddie Anderson. The three of us on Saturday night picked Columbus to win that game. I didn't really waver from that prediction. And obviously, yes, because it was right, I feel good about it. But this is embarrassing for Toronto. Every year, it seems like this is just their MO.
So these are the last 15 years of Toronto Maple Leafs playoff hockey. Miss playoffs, 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 lost first round, miss playoffs, miss playoffs, miss playoffs, lost first round, lost first round, lost first round, lost play-in. This is not a good team, and they have to blow it up. And I'm sorry. I know that the Austin Matthews, people are excited about the fact that they finally, they have a fantastic top line with Tavares, Matthews, and Marner. They have a little bit of depth. They have a little bit of defense with Riley and Muzzin. But, I mean, this is just not a team that's going to win. You're not going to be able to put enough around these guys with the contracts that you're paying out to be able to win. And clearly this line isn't going to get you there. And I don't know if it's just the players or if it's players and coaching and management and everything else. But this is not a good team, even though they continuously, the last 4 years make the playoffs or play-ins. This is a team that just has to blow it up. And they have to start over. They have to do something else because this ain't working.
So, James, for the last 3 years, I've been blaming Freddie Anderson, but maybe that's misguided blame. In my opinion, Freddie Anderson might be the problem, but I watched in Game 5. I thought he played pretty well. I know that's a one-game sample size, but we talked about this on Saturday. In my opinion, my first departure is the goalie.
I mean, it's fair criticism, but I'll add Pittsburgh in this stat because it's true. Toronto-Pittsburgh didn't give up a power play goal, lost the series. So it seems like your team's not scoring enough and your team's not getting enough offensive chances. When I thought Freddie Anderson played well. So I don't think you start with the goalie on that one. I think your team is just not scoring enough goals, especially since they were shut out twice in 5 games.
That's fair too. I mean, you're right. Token, he's not wrong. I mean, I've been a big proponent of Freddie Anderson being the problem there, but this series definitely exposed exactly what both Spike and James are talking about. The fact that when the offense is cold, this team is not good.
Absolutely. I mean, when it's cold, it's frozen. And I think what they kind of need is some defensive players that can play the puck on the offensive side of the ice. I mean, that's the only way I think that will help them boost their scores as well as potentially even their defense. I mean, those defensive characteristics that can play the puck forward, create scoring chances, especially the ones that have really good penalty killing experience too. I mean, keep it close in close games and keep your team in it. I mean,
That's fair. So, all right. So, who needs the most work overhaul of the three teams that we talked about? Toronto, Pittsburgh, and Edmonton. Spike. Who needs to? I don't want to say blow it up because there's so much, but all three of these teams. You already said Toronto should blow it up, but
Yeah. Well, and
you could also argue all three of these teams are very close to being cup competitors. Too. Cup contenders.
No, Toronto is.
No.
Yeah,
I
I'm with.
agree.
no, it's tough for me because I think Toronto has put themselves in especially bad position with their salary cap, especially with it not going up over the next year or two or whatever the deal is. So they're not going to be able to get talent because, like Token, and I hate agreeing with Token, but Token's exactly right in that they need an offensive-minded defenseman, and Torrey Krug's coming on the market because the Bruins aren't going to be able to sign him. That would be an unbelievable pickup for Toronto. That would be a key piece for them, but they can't afford him. And they're not going to be able to unless they do something drastic. I think Edmonton, their cap space isn't great, but they have a little bit of wiggle room. And, if they can find depth scoring and a better goalie, because I don't think Koskinen's the answer, I think they're okay. Pittsburgh, I have no idea what to make of them. I think this was just a motivation thing. I don't think this was a team that necessarily needs to be changed all that much. They probably could get away with it a little bit. But now that I keep going back and thinking about that team, that they're close. They're old, but they're close. And if they can find the right piece, I think they can get there again.
Well, and we discussed this last episode that, Sydney and Evgeny are still the main focal pieces of this, which I think stunts the growth of some of their younger guys like Gensel. But I mean, look at this. I mean, I think Matt Murray's going to get moved next year, obviously, if they can. They're either that or they're going to lose him to the expansion draft. They like Tristan Yarry. They kind of went with him in the series here. So if you're looking at a guy like Matt Murray, if Matt Murray could get his confidence back, he could be a piece for a Toronto team that could make them better. I know that it's not all goaltending. I tend to lean towards Anderson being more of the bigger issue because when this team can score in Toronto. This team can put up 6-7 goals a game with anybody. We've seen that before. I don't understand the whole slumping with that line too. That line is probably the most expensive line in hockey with Tavares, Marner, and Austin Matthews. I don't know if I agree with blowing it up. I may be a little different. I may think they are a little bit more of a contender than obviously James and Token did, but it's going to be interesting. I don't know. These three teams, we're talking about disasters, and unfortunately it seems like Edmonton's going to get the brunt of it because, like you said, Spike, they are in the Pacific Division, which right now for the last couple of years is notoriously the worst out of the four.
Right, and I just brought up Edmonton on Cap Friendly because I wanted to take a look. Their top paid defenseman this year was Oscar Klefbom. Is that really a name that strikes fear in the hearts of the offensive teams driving towards the net? Not really.
No, you're right.
So, yeah, that they need the help. And they can, between him, Adam Larson's another one. The two of them are making almost $8.25 million between them. Chris Russell's another one getting paid $4 million. The three of them, I mean, at $12 million, you could, if you find the right trading partners, you can improve that defense real quick for a lot cheaper.
Well, to be honest with you, James, as a Lightning fan, I was kind of hoping Toronto would win that game. I felt more comfortable as playing the Maple Leafs than I do Columbus. I mean, we all saw what Columbus did to the Lightning last year, fairly easily, by the way.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting. Was there any other surprises that you thought? I mean, predicting series is really hard. Again, I thought Nashville would be a little more into this series. I thought that one would probably go 5. The other series, to me, Calgary and Vancouver seemed to kind of dominate and control theirs. But was there any surprises to you, James, other than those 3?
Surprise, no. I'm genuinely shocked on how good Carolina looked. Like, I think Carolina's going to put up a good fight against Boston and maybe even have a chance to beat them because of how good their offense looked. Yes, they played the Rangers. That does have a lot to do with it. But clearly, Sebastian Aho was unbelievable in the series. And I'm kind of looking at Carolina-Boston. Boston didn't look that great in these first couple games. And it kind of starts with your kind of MO. Rask wasn't as good as he used to be.
Well, maybe Token, maybe you were right. Maybe they, you talked about it. We kind of laughed at you, and not out of disrespect, but just sometimes things that come out of your mouth are weird. But
I did it out of disrespect. Don't worry.
Okay, fair enough. Token came in and said Boston might be lazy and sluggish in this round robin, and he was absolutely right. They look bad. You're right.
Yeah.
So, all right, well, let's move into these series because we do have what you would call the actual Stanley Cup playoffs now. We've got 16 teams vying for the Cup, and we're going to go down in these series by series and talk about them. We'll start with that aforementioned Lightning Blue Jackets series. I'll give some predictions here, talk about the series, how we feel. The Lightning are a 235 favorite. Blue Jackets plus 190 to take this series. I don't feel comfortable I've got enough action on the Lightning to win the Cup this year, so I'm good. But I wouldn't feel comfortable taking the Lightning in this spot, especially with no Stamkos. Victor Hedman got hurt in the last game against Philly. James, I'll start with you. What do you think about this series? I mean, we saw what happened last year with the Blue Jackets. Obviously, Bobrovsky, Duchesne are not there anymore. But this Blue Jackets team surprised everybody by kind of beating Toronto, too.
I definitely think Hedman is going to make a difference by not playing if he doesn't play. At the moment, he's questionable to my knowledge. And if he's not playing, I think that's going to make a big difference. And, Columbus looked really good. And it wouldn't surprise me if Columbus could do something in this series. And I don't know, man. It's a tough series. I'll go Columbus. Why not? I'll start an upset on the first time on my show.
How do we mute this guy already? All right, Token, what do you think about this series, Lightning and the Blue Jackets?
I think this one will be a tough one for the Lightning, but however they prevail, I'm just not comfortable laying the, 240?
235, yeah.
Yeah.
These are my bookie odds. You could probably find a better price somewhere else, but
yeah,
we like to use the my bookie to support 12 ounce.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a tough.
I
That's
think
a tough
this
one to
one
lay.
goes 6 or 7, and it's going to be a grind them out series.
What do you think, Spike?
Yeah, I like Tampa this year. Hedman's a huge question for me, and I am overly protective of the number 77 because of Ray Bork and my affinity towards him. I still buy Ray Bork shit whenever I can. Hedman is one of 2 players in the league right now worthy of actually wearing the numbers. So if he can't go, that is such a massive loss for Tampa Bay that Columbus could make it a series. But we saw what Columbus can do with, not enough defensemen. And if Jones or Werenski get hurt, and Werenski, obviously took that shot in Game 4 against Toronto, if they go down, that's a problem. Elvis, I loved him. I always call him Mixoplex because that was a Superman villain. I'm not sold on their goalie tandem right now in big spots. In the regular season, they're fine. I just don't know that they can handle the pressure. So in this spot, I'm not putting money on it, but give me Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I think Tampa Bay is probably going to do this in 6. I think they're going to have some hard fought, though. I think these games will be close. I expect 2 or 3 overtime games in this series. And as a Lightning fan, I expect if they do not win this series, John Cooper's packing his bags. Yep. This is just too many times where you take it 3 years ago, or 2 years ago, whatever year it was, where they were up 3-2 on the Caps and they went blank. Again, Holtby, I'll give him his credit where credit was due, but you can't do that. And then last year getting swept by the Blue Jackets in 4 games. You just can't do this 3 years in a row. And in my opinion, expect to keep your job. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to take the Lightning in 6. I probably wouldn't lay that either. I might bet them game to game and see what happens. Or if they lose game 1, that price is obviously going to come down. So we'll see what happens with that one.
If they go down in the first period, bet them in game at plus money. If it's plus money, then you
texted me that the other day. You feel like that's like an auto fire.
Well, I was being facetious about the Columbus-Toronto series because I said there have been so many comebacks in this series that if Columbus goes up 2-0, that Toronto should be like a minus 130 favorite.
Oh, I see. I didn't catch the sarcasm. It's hard to convey tone.
I realized that after I sent it because absolutely nobody got it from everybody I sent it to. So I was like, son of a bitch.
Yeah, I kind of agreed with you. I mean, you're right with the comeback, especially with the comeback in Game 4. That was pretty impressive. That's the thing you see with Toronto. They can score 3 goals in 5 minutes. It's nuts.
You can't win a Stanley Cup doing that every fucking series. It's just not gonna happen.
I agree with you. All right, let's move into the Hurricanes and Bruins. I'm really interested to talk about this one because you're right. The Hurricanes, as bad as they looked the Bruins, as bad as they look, the Hurricanes looked that good in sweeping the Rangers. And again, James, you alluded to it was just the Rangers, but it's still a hockey team that they placed in front of you. I don't love anything about the Bruins going into this series, but talent-wise, they're better, Spike.
Oh, of course they're better, but they stink. So this is kind of a problem that the Bruins just didn't show up. The perfection line of Bergeron, Marchand, and Pasternak were completely blank. Rask looked out of his depth. Halak started one game, and he didn't look great. And that's supposed to be their strength, is their defense and the goaltending. Just nothing about this team fills me with any confidence right now. I think they can find it a little bit and put up a fight. If they win 2 in a row, I expect them to go deep, but I don't see that happening against a team with Aho and Svechnikov playing as well as they have. So that is why I have already put money on Carolina to win this series at plus whatever the hell William Hill had it at like 2 hours ago.
Yeah, they're minus 165, the Bruins here, plus 140 for the Hurricanes token. The reason I kind of feel confident in the Bruins is I actually think – I'm not going to bet the Bruins side, but I actually think that the Bruins line series price should be much lower. I think it should probably be closer to 120, 130, especially with how both of these teams looked in their respective series.
Yes. In my opinion, I think Boston actually does win the series, but I think it goes the full distance, the full 7.
I agree.
And it might even go to overtime in that last game. And it's going to be a tough physical series, and Carolina with Aho is definitely going to look good and steal a couple games from Boston.
Yeah, I like the 7-game series thought. Yeah, you're right. This is going to be, again, another one. I mean, you can say this about every series, but another one where 165 just seems very high for me to take a team that just did get to just their doors blown in the round robins. But Dougie Hamilton coming back, everything feels good about the Hurricanes. I don't dislike that bet, Spike, but what do you think, James?
I like the Carolina plus 140, and even better, there's 2 series on here I have scheduled. This is an under series. I think there's going to be a lot of under games in this series with Rask and Mrazek. And I liked Mrazek. I thought he looked pretty good against the Rangers. So I'm going to go Carolina in 7 because Boston doesn't do it for me. And even better, I think Boston could be up 2-0 and lose the series. It was the first time watching Boston these past couple games, guys, that they didn't look like they could pass the puck better than the team they were playing against. And they've always been better at passing the puck with each other. Not this past couple games, though.
It could be the conditioning factor, like you said, Token. Maybe we were duped. Maybe they just really didn't care about especially like we said, you're in a bubble. There's no fans. There's no anything really. There's nothing other than the goalie to really give you an advantage. But I feel like maybe they duped the league and us into feeling this line seems too high, and Vegas is usually smarter than us, Toby.
Yeah, I think they kind of played soft in the round robin and tried not to get hurt, and they were kind of sluggish just trying to get back into it almost. But I think this is one that's going to be one of the most interesting series of this first round for sure.
That's fair. All right, let's move on to another series in the East. This is probably my favorite series in the East in terms of the matchup. It's the Capitals and the Islanders. I got a ticket on the Islanders. I know, Spike, you got a ticket on the Islanders to win the Stanley Cup. The Capitals are minus 145 favorite. Islanders plus 125 dog in this one. I think you alluded to it last week with the Islanders and the Panthers, Spike. This is a team in the Capitals that could score a lot, and this is a team in the Islanders who give up nothing.
Yep, and
we're getting it again.
And this is exactly why I am also looking forward to this series. I think this is going to be fun, and we also have the Capitals against their former coach Barry Trotz, which makes it that much more intriguing. I think we have the potential for one of these series that just becomes legendary. I remember 4 years ago, whenever it was, St. Louis and Chicago played a series, which might still be my favorite playoff series of all time. Might be. And it was just like every game was intense. Every shot mattered. Every pass mattered. Like, it was so fun to watch. I have the feeling that this Washington and Islanders series could live up to that same kind of hype. And once again, I already have a bet in on this. I am once again taking the dog. I do like the Islanders to stymie that Washington offense. If they can get, a 2 or 3 goals in a game, then the Islanders can win every game that they play, because Washington, if they can't play defense, and forget about it. And with John Carlson, I know he was out at the end of the round robin there. I don't know if he's coming back. I haven't paid enough attention. That is a massive loss for that team as well.
Token, who do they go with at goalie in this spot? I mean, Varlamov and Greiss both play well. I didn't watch enough of this series to really see the split that they did between Varlamov and Greiss. My guess, they're going to go with Greiss.
Yeah, I would kind of.
I'm sorry.
I mean,
Varlamov.
The first 2 games, you might even go one and then the other and see who almost looks better. Not necessarily who gives up less goals, but whoever might look better and facing some key scoring opportunities and making some key saves in those situations.
So who you got?
I like Washington this one. I think it will go 6 games, but however, Washington will prevail.
All right. And James, again, the Capitals are a minus 145 favorite. They looked rather sluggish in the round robin, but again, we talked about this in the last podcast, the Squares and I, and motivation was almost we're unable to determine motivation in the round robin, as evidenced by the Bruins, who we know were the best probably quality team on paper. But the Capitals have had a history of playing down to opponents they necessarily should beat. And the Islanders, I think maybe if the season played out, could have been one of the best teams.
Yeah, I definitely, I liked what I saw from the Islanders, and I agree with you. If the season played off, they could have been better. But I'm going to go Capitals. I like that minus 145, actually. I think that's a safe bet. And the thing with the Washington Capitals that is seemingly forgotten about all the time is they have so many goal scorers that you have to worry about. It's not just Alex Ovechkin. You have Backstrom, you have Oshie, and you have different guys who are able to put the puck in the net. I'm going to go Washington at 6 here.
Yeah, I again, with the ticket on the Islanders, I'm going to play a little happiness heads here and fire the Capitals at some point. Maybe the Islanders can sneak game 1 and I can find a better price closer to even. But I think I'll fire a happiness hedge. I do think the Islanders, with all of my biases out, will play better hockey here. I just don't know, like you said, if talent could get there. If the Capitals can score 4 goals a game against the Islanders, I don't think the Islanders will win this because they have trouble scoring, but they also don't give up anything. And if Washington can get goals, it's hard for the Islanders to play catch up in this, just from watching them all year. So, all right, the last series in the Eastern Conference before we switch to the Western Conference is the Flyers and the Canadiens. Again, Montreal coming in as the 12th seed after beating Pittsburgh, big upset. I got to face a team that, again, I will pat myself on the back because I bet this and got it. Flyers plus 550 to get the 1 seed in the tournament, in the round robin that we talked about in the previous podcast. But they are now a minus 220 favorite over a plus 180 Canadiens team. Token, Flyers look real good.
Yes, they do. And Montreal actually looks pretty good as well. I mean, when Price is hot, it's tough to bet against him. And I actually like Montreal in this matchup.
Wow, plus 180. You're going for it. I can see Spike looking at you like, the fuck?
I can appreciate liking Montreal because of what you saw with their series against Pittsburgh. That makes sense to me. I just think Philadelphia is too fast. They're too deep. They finally have a goalie that's worth a damn, Carter Hart.
Yeah.
And I think that they are a little too strong. Plus, my Boston bias showing I would rather root for Al-Qaeda than the Canadiens. So I think at this point, I would just I'm not touching the series because I don't think the price on Philadelphia is good enough for me to bet it. But I don't see a way that Philadelphia loses this one.
Yeah,
barring
James,
an injury, of course. Barring an injury.
Yeah, as I say, James, as long as Philadelphia is healthy, this one, I'm going to say I think as long as Philadelphia stays healthy, I see a sweep here.
I can't go sweep. I feel like Montreal can get a game, but again, I kind of agree. I'm not going to bet it because the money's not good enough. But I mean, I'm gonna regret saying it while I'm saying it, but the Flyers look like the Stanley Cup champions. So
Ooh.
I gotta go Flyers, of course. They look too good, and they look like that NHL team that's just so fast during the power play opportunities, where the power play and the power play just starts. Oh, the Flyers just scored. Like there's gonna be a lot of times like that.
Yeah, I really like that Joel Farabee kid as well. He looks really good for a rookie. He's pretty poised. And like I said, as long as they can stay healthy, I see a sweep or maybe even a gentleman's sweep. I'm going to call the sweep there, Token. I'm going to call the sweep.
Wow, that's a bold prediction in my opinion.
All right, let's shift gears to the West and talk about the Blues and Canucks. The Blues, they got offered in the series. Actually, let me verify that. I can't. They got beat by the Stars, right?
Yeah.
They did get offered. Yeah, they got beaten in a shootout. That's right. All right, so the Blues are a -210 to the Canucks at +175. Again, another high series price. I don't love anything about it. The Canucks played well, again, even against Minnesota. I know that Minnesota probably wasn't a playoff team or ready to be a part of it. But the Canucks got young, healthy players, and I think they play really good hockey. James, what do you think?
I mean, who doesn't love Quinn Hughes, man? He's kind of reinvigorated that team and playing so much better. When you have a defender like that, that's what that can do. And now Vancouver looks like a very good, young, offensive-minded team that can play defense very well. You saw Minnesota wasn't able to score goals on them late, and now Vancouver is able to score goals early. So when you have a 2-3-0 lead in the first two periods, you don't have to be on the attack in the third period. That's Vancouver for you. I don't like any of the prices. I think Vancouver's got a shot. I will say this, though. Binnington was the Blue savior last year. It's got to be Allen this year. Allen looked better in the first couple games.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, you're right. I mean, Binnington, especially against the Knights, 6 goals. That's a lot, Token. What do you think about this price? You got -210 for the Blues, +175 for the Canadian, or for the Canucks to win the series.
I actually like Vancouver in this one as well. I mean, I actually believe they are the better team and can take down this defending Stanley Cup playoff champions from last year. So,
yeah, that's a fair assessment. I didn't see anything I liked out of the Blues in the round robin, except for the fact that they were having trouble getting shots, but from the little amount of shots they got, they were converting. So that's got to be a positive for the Blues. But Spike, I think they've got to get more shots on goal.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just shots on goal. It's that they have to play defense. And what James was saying is absolutely correct, that Allen looked better than Binnington in the round robin. This is one of those series where you have to feel like momentum is going to mean a lot. And with St. Louis losing everything in the round robin, Vancouver coming in and really looking great in that series matchup. I mean, I don't think there's a doubt at all. And right now, William Hill has Vancouver at +190, which is what I bet 2 hours ago for the Canucks to win that series. So let's go, Vancouver.
You knew we were talking playoffs. Why don't you just have these jerseys ready?
Because they're right in the closet right next to the office. Plus, I have Bluetooth headphones, so I can just walk over there and grab one when I need it. And that's the only one that I think that's the only one I'm grabbing, is it?
He clearly did it for the effect of walking up.
He's probably going to grab the North Dakota State Buffaloes or something like that next. Or
actually, shit, I should have gone this one too. I had that one.
Yeah, so there you go. Yeah. But that's a Tavares, though. He doesn't play there anymore.
I know, but
or was that a Butch Goring jersey?
No, it's definitely a Tavares one.
Vancouver, only team to win their series who lost game 1.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, I like Vancouver in this series too. I'm gonna probably fire it at William Hill, not my bookie, especially if I can get 15 more cents on there. But again, I didn't see anything in the Blues I liked. But again, determining motivation in the freaking round robin is so tough. So, and the Blues are a good team. I mean, they can literally turn it on. How many games, Spike, do you give Binnington before Allen goes in? I mean, Binnington's going to start the series. Can't go down 2-0. I mean, you give him a game and a half if he's not good?
No, 1 game. If he gives up another 5 spot, then he's out. Then he's out for good.
Interesting.
I know that some teams will go 2. We saw that in Washington in 2018 when they won the Stanley Cup. They started with Grubauer, gave him 2 games against Columbus. We lost both. They put in Holtby, and the rest is history. I don't think Bennington has that long of a leash.
Fair enough. All right, let's move forward into the Coyotes and the Avalanche. The Avalanche are a -305 in this series. The Coyotes, with a surprising upset to everyone other than Token, are a
What the
+2.
fuck are you talking about? I had Arizona all the way as well.
He actually did
God
too.
damn
yeah.
it.
All right, fair enough. Shut up, Gritty.
I said Kemper wins the goddamn Vezina if he doesn't get hurt. That's how
Gritty
much
out
I like
after the first
Arizona this
round.
year.
Yeah, but you know what? You liked them when they weren't a playoff team. Your prediction got them nowhere. They just got lucky that there was a worldwide pandemic to get them in the playoffs.
I also have a futures ticket on the Coyotes to win the Stanley Cup that I put in before the season. So
Exactly. You got lucky by having a
I didn't
worldwide
get fucking lucky. What are you talking
I
They
about?
were
liked
out of the
Arizona as well
playoffs.
before the season
They
too.
still had 12 games to go.
Yeah, okay. Anyways, all right, fine. That everybody who's sitting on this panel except me knew about. I don't know, James. I don't know. James.
I'm not going to admit that, man. Did you think Taylor Hall would factor?
I don't know. I thought they were too young, even with Taylor Hall and Phil Kessel. I know that Phil Kessel probably just ate another hot dog.
I like them as well as Spike, but
Yeah.
however,
I was giving you credit. Shut the hell up.
I know. No, I actually knew Spike liked them, and I actually did too.
All right.
Which
Well,
is why
let's
I don't
let's-
think they're going to go far.
No, I didn't like them as much as Spike.
All right. How do we like them now? I mean, they're the logical betting choice here. They can hang with the Avalanche or they can't hang with the Avalanche. I don't know. I think they're too young. It's going to go with Kemper. It has to be. He's the only saving grace in this. I don't think Taylor Hall is good enough to carry this Coyotes team. Garland's decent, but the Avalanche are just so good. And I think overall, I think this could be another sweep, Spike.
Oh, you stole my fucking line, you prick. Yeah,
Oh
I
my
was going to
God.
say that we had, Taylor Hall, Kessel looked good. Ekman Larson on the back line looks great. Kemper looks good, but Colorado's too fast, too quick. This is just a team that can run Arizona over. I'm actually calling for a sweep in this one. I'm not betting it. I didn't see a way to bet that on William Hill. I don't know if my bookie has a line for that, but yeah, this is
I'm sure they do.
this is not going to be a pretty series.
So, Token, you follow right up Spike's asshole and call the sweep too?
No, I really do like Colorado. I believe it will go 5 games, though. I think Arizona squeaks out one.
The gentleman's sweep. James, what do you think about this one? The Avalanche, again, -305, the biggest favorite that we have. Actually, the second biggest favorite that we have in the first round of the playoffs here.
I'm not going to bet that because that's just you're not way too much for me. Avalanche definitely in 5, but this is the second one I mentioned earlier with Carolina and Boston. This is my other under series. You're going to see a lot of 2-1, 3-1 games in this one.
That's a good assessment. So yeah, I think the Avalanche are going to win this game as well. But I want to get on the gravy train here with the boys down there. I might throw a few shekels on the +245, or if they lose game 1, it could get up to 400 in that spot or worse.
Yeah.
So, all right, to the most boring series, in my opinion, that could potentially take place in the West is the Flames and the Stars. I don't know. I am hard-pressed, other than Ben Bishop, to find a reason to watch this series. Stars -115, Flames -105. Effectively, theoretically, I pick them here at this spot. Token, Cam Talbot, your favorite player in the NHL, in goal for the Flames. I think this could be another under series too. Not to take anything from James's thoughts here, but this could be another under series.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with this. And I have a feeling this one's going to be a back and forth series, a lot of 2-1, maybe 3-2 games. And I actually like the Flames in this one. I think they squeak it out in 6 or 7. I want to see a game 7 to go over overtime. This is probably my second favorite series to have that happen.
Well, Spike, I think it's a snooze fest. What do you think?
I don't know about a snooze fest, because anytime you have a Kachuk in a series, then blood is sure to boil, and there's sure to be cheap shots. There's sure to be retaliation. So I think we have the potential for some kind of Kachuk versus Corey Perry pest showdown, which could be interesting drama. I think the hockey itself is probably going to be pretty mediocre all around. So for theater, it's worth watching. For hockey, like it's not something that you're going to tape and show to young kids in the mites or whatever the fucking young kids leagues are. But yeah, I'm not touching this one. I think Calgary has a chance to pull it out, maybe, but I don't know. I don't know that their offense is good enough to hang with Dallas. I think Dallas can. I think Dallas can win this one. 7 games is not out of the question. I just think Dallas is too good.
Yeah, and James, if Calgary really wants to compete, in my opinion, I think Johnny Gaudreau's got to get going.
Johnny Gaudreau definitely has to get going, and I think he will. And I'm going to go Calgary 6 because I liked what I saw from Cam Talbot, and I think Ben Bishop will give up a lot of goals in this series. I have no faith in Dallas. When it comes to the 2 teams of Boston and Dallas, I think they both will get upset. No question about it.
Wow. All right, let's move on to the 8th of the playoff series here, and it is the one that we were kind of most looking forward to. Now, again, I will say this. I'll preface this by saying I don't wish injury or harm on anyone, but I am rooting really hard for Corey Crawford to get COVID and Malcolm Subban to be the goalie in this series. It's the Knights and the Blackhawks. The Golden Knights are minus 320, Blackhawks plus 260. Again, I want Malcolm Subban to be in goal for one of 2 reasons. Either one, again, I'm not wishing for the Golden Knights to lose, but if they do, I want it to be because Subban played out of his mind and he just shuts up a lot of the people, half the fan base in Vegas that hates him, or the half the fan base that hates him in Vegas was right, and Subban gives up 18 goals a game. Token, what do you think about this series? Golden Knights minus 320, Blackhawks plus 260.
18 goals a game might be a little out of the question, even if Subban.
If anybody could do it, Subban could.
Possibly. I mean, I just don't think the Knights have that much scoring in them.
I know. I love Subban.
To put up 11.
And I think he got a bad rap here. I think he got such a bad rap here. And again, now that Leonard's in and everybody loves Leonard and they're ready to get rid of Fleury, and
yeah,
320 is just so much. I mean, we've already got a bet on the Golden Knights to win, and obviously, I don't. What does anybody have William Hill up? I want to see what their series, if they have a series price on that, because they might be higher. Because you never get a good Vegas Golden Knights line here in Vegas. Spike, what do you think about this series? What?
Maybe 400.
It could be. That's why I'm trying to see if Token can get that up. Spike, what do you think about this series?
350.
Yeah, there you go. 350. Yeah.
I don't know. I know that the Blackhawks have the experience of going into the playoffs. Corey Crawford looks like Corey Crawford again. Taze is playing better. Kane looks good. Doc being one of the other of the number 77s that's worthy of wearing that number in my eyes. He's playing well. This is a team that has a lot of good pieces, but Vegas without Pacioretty went 3-0 in the round robin, and they're getting Pacioretty back for this series. They have Fleury and Leonard, and if one stinks, they can replace them. The only thing that concerns me about Vegas right now is depth. They don't have depth scoring from the 3rd and 4th line. They don't have a 3rd defensive pairing, and even the middle pairing is a little.
I mean, Alex Tuck had 3-4 goals in the round robin.
Yeah, he finally woke up, but that's is that fluke or is that what we can actually expect from Alex Tuck? He's gone on streaks like this before, so I'm not thoroughly convinced that he is.
I'm kind of hoping that it's not the exception to the rule. In fact, and with that, I think Chandler Stevenson is coming back down to the 3rd line with Pacioretty being reinserted in the lineup as well. I think we're going to have a team that was, like we said, I mean, let's give credit where credit was due. All 3 of us said that the Knights might be overmatched in the round robin, and with the exception of the Colorado game, I think they handled themselves just fine, and they just got better with Pacioretty coming back. So
no, they absolutely did.
So you got the Golden Knights, I assume, in this series.
Yeah, I get the Knights. I don't necessarily know that it's going to be close either. Maybe Chicago sneaks a game out of it, but a sweep in the spot wouldn't surprise me. It's just Vegas is too good right here in this spot for Chicago.
Yeah, I think we got a gentleman's sweep here. I think it's 4-1 Vegas. What do you think, James?
I like the sweep or the gentleman's sweep. Look, Vegas just looks too good. And, even players that you don't think are that good, or at least I didn't think were that good, Theodore shows up and looks really good in the past couple of games. So I'm like, Vegas has so many people that you question their depth, but maybe their depth is better than we give them credit for. Because I question their depth as well, but they may have better players than we give them credit for. I'll go Vegas in 5.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment. I actually think that from top to bottom, Vegas might have a really good team, maybe like one of the best teams in the West, maybe one of the best teams in the NHL. But if you start to individually look at them, they don't have. I mean, Pacioretty, yes, at one time he was a superstar, but Mark Stone to me is not like all-world superstar. They don't have the Austin Matthews. They don't have the John Tavares. They don't have the Connor McDavid. They have a bunch of really good pieces that mesh well together. And we lost James.
Nope, we're good.
He's back. He just moved to the bottom now. They just, to me, top to bottom, they have a full team of really good to pretty good stars, with the exception of Ryan Reeves, even though he scored. I don't hate Ryan Reeves. I just don't think that him and William Carrier need to be on the team doing the same thing, taking up that much salary. Anyway, all right, well, that's going to wrap it up here again with the series. It's going to be crazy, though. I mean, again, if you look at Token, I hate to keep harping on this, but last year in the first round for the series, you went 0-8.
Yes.
So anything is possible.
I can't go worse, but I could tell you that.
You cannot go worse. That is correct. So it's going to be fun. The NHL playoffs are always fun. I did a poll on the Vegas Squares Twitter that was really surprising. I don't know. I'd get your guys' thoughts on this as kind of the final wrap-up. I asked if you could only watch one sport for the entire weekend, what would you watch? The 4 options were the NBA, the MLB, the PGA Championship, and the NHL playoffs. And an overwhelming 82% picked either the NHL playoffs or the PGA Championship. Token, I thought that was a pretty interesting poll based on the number of people who voted. That hockey, I don't know if it's just because it's playoff and everybody just hears the notion of NHL playoffs are fantastic. But, you're talking about 2 sports that really struggle in TV ratings. And, again, small sample size, but they got 82% of the votes in that poll.
Yeah, I mean, you got the first major of the year happening with the PGA Championship that happened, and then you got pretty much hockey back. I mean, the basketball haters are probably going to lean towards hockey if they want something that's like a whole slate of games and all that. Baseball players are baseball fans that really like the sport of baseball will probably lean that way, but there's not many of those left, so got to pick one or the other. And in my mind, it was definitely the PGA Championship, though.
Yeah, I voted for the PGA Championship. If I could only pick one, because I like golf a lot and I had a lot of bets riding on it. But James, I mean, what do you make from that poll? Obviously, the NFL was not in the poll. If it was, because the NFL would always rule. But I thought that was kind of interesting to see that most people of the 4 options they had were more interested in golf and hockey than baseball and basketball.
Well, I am a all-around sports fan, and I watched a lot of NBA. The Zion effect probably hit that. He didn't play as great, and the Pelicans looked awful, and the Pelicans were already out of playoff contention starting yesterday. So, and you're seeing load management already hit some of these basketball teams who have clinched a number 1 or a 2 seed. Clippers played without Paul George, Montrezl Harrell, Pat Beverly one game, and it's like, I'm going to pick an NHL playoff game that goes into overtime above a Clippers game without 3 of their 5 best players. So I think that's where it I respect golf and I have nothing against it. I don't watch a lot of it. So that's probably why I wasn't in there. Got to talk baseball. My Tigers are 9-5, first in the AL Central. Go Detroit.
Yeah, I'm very shocked by that.
Yeah, my under bet for them is not looking very good.
No.
22.5.
Hey, there's still a chance until there's not.
That's true. That's the beautiful thing about unders. It's going to be all season until it's not. But Spike, I mean, if you had the choice between all 4 of those options, MLB, NBA, hockey playoffs, you're taking hockey playoffs too. I know that.
Oh, yeah, by a mile. I mean, there's just couldn't give a shit less about golf. I think it was Winston Churchill that said golf is the best way to spoil a good walk. Basketball, I couldn't give a shit less about unless it's the WNBA. I'd rather watch the Las Vegas Aces than any of these other garbage show-off selfish teams. And I mean, it would maybe be a toss-up between baseball and hockey, but if I had to watch it live continuously all the time, like I enjoy both enough that I could make an argument to say baseball, but I'm picking hockey every time.
You got to remember, of course, your poll is important, but also what your Twitter followers are. If I did that, I may get a different result based on what my Twitter following is. Because I am.
Yeah.
and an NHL fan. So I'm sure we'd get different results. But out of the followers that you have, I'm guessing a lot of them are NHL, correct?
Could be. Yeah. All right. Well, that's going to wrap it up for us. Again, James A. Paxson, we appreciate you coming on. He's the lead writer for 12 Ounce Sports. And again, check him out. He's going to have a new show called James and the Agent coming soon to the 12 Ounce Sports Network, Wednesdays at 8 p.m. James, where can we find you on social media?
At Paxson_Jimmy on Twitter, James A. Paxson on everything else. Happy to be on, guys. I'm happy to come on anytime you guys need me. Also, Mark Twain, not Winston Churchill.
Ah, there we go.
I like you already correcting Spike's bitch ass.
Yeah, whatever.
Anyways, so all right, for Spike, for Token Tony, for James A. Paxson, I am Aaron. We appreciate you listening. Check us out on lvsquares.com. Our Twitter handle is @VegasSquares. We will catch you on the next episode. Good luck on your bets.